Hey guys, this is my third entry into the DFW Nerd Night competition blog. And if you didn't check out my last video where I talked about the mechanics that I wanted to hone in on, you should check it out right over here. Because in this video, I'm going to talk about the theme that I evolved from those mechanics and the improvements that I've done to the mechanic and the theme to then kind of like make them gel together. So let me jump into it. So the theme that I've decided to go with was bicycle couriers. And with the previous game, or mechanics that I had, one important aspect of it was to balance out the left and the right side. So before it was a lot of plus and minuses, so this was the plus side and this was the minus side, and goal of the game was to kind of balance these things out, so 5 would cancel out the 5 over here. However, I flipped it a bit and I decided to think of these two sides as the front and the back side of the bike, or another way of balancing your bike, because it's important to have a balanced bike and make sure that, just to make sure that you're riding safely. So that is one of the things that I changed with the mechanics to make it work more. I got a really good comment from Christopher on YouTube, and he noted that when the disc was on the plus side, it's not intuitive that the disc will give a minus card placement. So I did a few brainstorms and changes to that, and what I came up with was kind of a different card, but what this card does is still the same, but it brings in the bicycle theme. And the bicycle theme is that you're kind of like biking around, and I guess you're hitting up routes, and what this thing says is that whenever the disc is on the right side, the plus sign is active. When the disc is on the left side, the minus is active. And something that I've been playing around is that when it's on the center, a tracker changes, and also you can maybe play into both plus and minus sides. But this is quite thematic because it is kind of like bicycle routes where you have to do the job of dropping it off in specific zones or spots, and the plus and minus somewhat dictates where it has to go. But instead of the plus and minus, it would be front and back of the bike. So that is another change that I did. So from this guy to the more thematic side, like so. Before, I also had this chart over here where whenever a card was fulfilled with that specific color, the corresponding cube would go up, and at the end of the game you would score more points for stashed away yellow cards than blue cards in this scenario. I kind of scrapped that idea, but I kept that the cubes move around, and this is a new thing that I came up with. So each time, for now, the disc moves past a red dot, what happens is that that cube, let's say it is the purple cube over here, goes from the rush side to the regular side. And what does this mean? Rush means that the values of the cards have to be exactly on point, while regular means that you can have a leeway of +1 or -1 according to the last card that you've played. So let's make up a mini scenario over here where so I have 4 over on this side and I got nothing on the minus side. I look over here and I see that the purple cube is in the regular zone, meaning that it has more leeway of a plus and a minus if you want to. So in my hand, I have a purple 3, and if I play this on the right side, I can up the value by 1 or down the value by 1. So this could be a 2, 3, or 4. And if I decide that it's a 4, it would balance out and I would get that bonus. So only the last card that you play will take into effect this bonus over here. So you can't look at all of your cards and start doing this long math equation to then finally get it at a balanced state. It's only the last card that you play, and it's only if the cube is in the regular side. Now, another thing that I was changing around was actually the numbers of the cards, because the scale from 1 to 5 fits really well thematically if you look at it by size of an item. So standard items would perhaps be something like burritos, letters, keys, teddy bears, so like small items, while 5 would be absurdly like big items like pianos, like trombones, big sofas. So by going from 1 to 5, I've made it so that the 1 is lighter items and more abundant jobs, and 5 is the more heavier and difficult jobs. So it'll be less cards of the higher valued cards and more of the lower valued cards in this deck over here. And I've hashed out a general, I guess, card distribution that I want to use and playtest soon, but it follows around 4 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 2 4s, and 1 5, and a few other cards here and there. Another thing that also worked on was the board which players will be using. So every player will probably get a unique bicycle yet again. Here I'm sketching out different bicycle types. I was maybe thinking about adding the rollerblade slash kick bike, but nah, I'll keep it to bicycles for this first prototype over here. So the new player board would represent the back of the bike and the front of the bike, and the scoring system over here indicates how many cards you can stash away. So I'm going to do a quick scenario over here, and I'm going to place this over here, so 5, this over here. I should probably have a clip to clip this down. Just give me a moment. Or something heavy. So let me just set up the scenario for you guys. Okay, so the first scenario over here is like so. So on the left side you can see a value of 6, and on the right side you can see a value of 7. So if you decide to complete this job over here, what happens is that you score whatever is on the left side and right side, and then you move on to the bonuses that you might get. So right now, all of these points or cards would act as 1 point each. And what happens is that you then look at the score tracker over here. So if you have 0 to 3 cards, you can stash away 0 cards. If you have 4 to 6 cards, you can stash away 1 card. And if you have 7 plus cards, you can stash away 2 cards. If the two sides are balanced, you can stash away an additional card. So in this scenario over here, it's not balanced, and it's between 4 to 6, so you can stash away 1 card. And that card that you stash away is now valued by their numerical sign. Instead of just being worth 1 point each, I could stash away this 5 card, like so. And the 2 or the 3 other cards will go on the top, like so. And then you can start balancing again and get out there to do another career job. Now, in another scenario, here I'm just going to set it up. so. So if I decide that this job is complete, I start counting the points again. So over here we got 8. Over here we also got 8. The number of cards we have is 5. So that means that we land in this quadrant over here. It is balanced, so we can bank away 2 more cards, and the rest of the cards go into the top pool over here. So I bank away my highest cards, which are these 2 over here, so I get 8 points from that. And I stash away these 3 to the top over here. So 8 plus 3 is 11, and that's how many points we got from that job. I've seen a lot of, I guess, bike messenger movies and documentaries like Premium Rush with, yeah, anyways, and Triple Rush, which is another like documentary about New York bike messengers, and I think it's a really interesting and cool theme, but I think I want to add a mini twist to it, so maybe it's more like classy couriers where they all have yet again unique bikes like the tricycle or kind of like the big lean back bike or this guy from the olden days, or I don't know, not the fancy like road bike couriers. So perhaps the items that we ship around are also a bit more fun and thematic to that cause. And even though it is a numerical game with balancing, I think the theme actually allows the game to flourish and be a bit more fun than it used to be. So yet again, I'm quite happy with where I am. I'm going to do a playtest on Wednesday, which is 2 days from now, and I'm aiming to get up a prototype and film the whole ordeal. So we'll see what happens, and yeah, take care.